Welcome, my fellow darkness dwellers, to a place where shadows dance and whispers echo with chilling tales of the unknown. Tonight we unravel the mystery of time itself, or rather, the unsettling moments when it stops. We've gathered three terrifying stories of haunted timepieces, each with an eerie connection to the hour of death. Are these clocks cursed, or are they simply marking a moment preordained, a chilling countdown to the inevitable? Prepare yourselves, because tonight we're venturing deep into the abyss of time, and trust me, you won't look at a clock the same way again. Our first tale takes us back to Victorian England, where a grand estate held a dark secret, a grandfather clock whose ornate hands seemed to predict doom. The Blackwood Manor stood overlooking stormy cliffs, a testament to a bygone era, filled with whispers of the past. The Blackwood family resided here, their lineage intertwined with the ominous grandfather clock in the main hall. Legend had it that the clock was a gift, crafted by a spurned lover of a Blackwood ancestor, cursing it to mark the hour of death for each Blackwood descendant. The first tragedy struck when young Edward Blackwood met an untimely demise at the stroke of midnight, as the grandfather clock chimed its mournful tune. Years passed, and the memory of Edward's death faded until tragedy struck again. Margaret Blackwood, Edward's younger sister, also met her demise at midnight, a victim of a freak accident. The whispers began anew, hushed conversations about the clock and its connection to the Blackwoods' deaths. The family, once dismissive, now eyed the grandfather clock with apprehension and dread. As the years turned into decades, the grandfather clock continued its grim countdown. Each death seemed to coincide with the clock's eerie chimes at the stroke of midnight. The once grand Blackwood family dwindled, their lives seemingly bound to the cursed timepiece. John Blackwood, the last remaining heir, found himself alone in the manor, haunted by the ticking of the grandfather clock and the ghosts of his ancestors. He had spent his life researching the clock's history, seeking a way to break the curse. The answer, when it finally came, was not what he expected. The curse was not in the clock itself, but in the fear it inspired. The clock was merely a vessel, a symbol of the dread that had taken root in the family's hearts. John decided to confront the clock, to break the cycle of fear that had haunted his family for centuries. He chose to live, to defy the curse and reclaim his life from the grip of fear. With a newfound resolve, he faced the clock, its power diminished, and the grandfather clock remained in the Blackwood Manor, a reminder of the darkness that can consume us when we allow fear to dictate our lives. The once ominous chimes fell silent, and the manor, bathed in new light, stood as a testament to the power of courage over fear. Our next story takes us to 1940s New Orleans, a city steeped in mystery and voodoo, where the air is thick with secrets and the streets whisper tales of the unknown. Here, we encounter a haunted timepiece, a tarnished silver pocket watch with an unsettling secret, one that has been passed down through generations. The pocket watch once belonged to a renowned voodoo priestess, Madame Evangeline, known for her potent charms and eerie prophecies, a woman whose name still sends shivers down the spines of those who remember her. She claimed the pocket watch allowed her to communicate with the dead, to hear their whispers and foresee their final moments, a gift and a curse intertwined. But the pocket watch came with a price, emitting a faint ticking sound that grew more pronounced as death approached, a harbinger of doom. Madame Evangeline became known as the harbinger of death, her presence feared and revered, a figure of both dread and respect. She used the pocket watch's power to help those seeking closure, but the knowledge of death was a heavy burden to bear, a weight that grew heavier with each passing day. One day the pocket watch fell silent. Madame Evangeline announced that her time was near and instructed her followers to bury the pocket watch with her. Years turned into decades, and the legend of Madame Evangeline and her haunted pocket watch faded into obscurity, becoming nothing more than a ghost story. That is, until a group of teenagers stumbled upon her forgotten tomb, drawn by curiosity and the thrill of the unknown. They found the tomb and the pocket watch, its cold metal sending a shiver down their spines, a chill that seemed to reach into their very souls. As they held it, they heard a faint ticking, slow and deliberate, like a heartbeat counting down its final beats, a sound that grew louder with each passing second. Panic set in as the ticking intensified, each click echoing in the confined space of the tomb, a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Then just as suddenly as it began, the ticking stopped. The teenagers, their breaths ragged, looked at each other, relieved but apprehensive, unsure of what had just happened. But their relief was short-lived. Daniel, the boy who had picked up the pocket watch, was gone, vanished without a trace. The haunted pocket watch had claimed another victim, its hunger for souls insatiable, a dark legacy that continued to grow. The legend of Madame Evangeline lived on, a chilling reminder that some secrets are best left buried, a warning to those who dare to uncover the past. Our final tale brings us to the quiet suburbs of modern America, where a seemingly ordinary wall clock holds an extraordinary and terrifying secret. This is a story that will make you question the very nature of time and the unseen forces that may govern it. The house on Elm Street was unremarkable except for the antique wall clock in the living room. This clock, with its intricate design and old-world charm, seemed like a relic from a bygone era. The Thompson family dismissed the stories surrounding the clock as neighborhood gossip. They believed it was just another piece of folklore, a tale spun to entertain or frighten the gullible. Sarah Thompson, a pragmatic woman, scoffed at the idea of a haunted clock. She was a woman of science and reason, and such superstitions had no place in her rational world. But as the days turned into weeks, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. There was an unsettling presence in the house, a feeling that grew stronger with each passing day. The clock would occasionally stop, its hands frozen in place as if time itself had paused. It was as if the clock was trying to communicate something, a message that was just out of reach. The clock stopped at the exact moment Sarah's elderly aunt passed away peacefully in her sleep. It was a coincidence too eerie to ignore, a moment that left the family in stunned silence. The hands of the clock pointed to 8:15 p.m., the exact time the paramedics pronounced her aunt dead. This chilling synchronicity was the first of many such occurrences. The clock, it seemed, was more than just a timepiece. It was a silent witness, marking the moments of life and death with eerie accuracy. It was as if the clock had a soul, a consciousness that was deeply intertwined with the fabric of time. Each time someone in their extended family or circle of friends passed away, the clock would stop at the exact moment of their death. This pattern was undeniable, a grim reminder of the clock's mysterious power. The Thompsons grew increasingly disturbed by the clock's macabre ability. The once dismissed rumors now seemed all too real, and the family found themselves living in a state of constant dread. They tried everything to get rid of it, but the clock always found its way back to them. No matter how far they took it or how they disposed of it, the clock would reappear in their home as if it was bound to them by an unbreakable curse. They consulted with clockmakers, paranormal investigators, even a priest, but no one could explain the clock's strange behavior. Each expert left more baffled than the last, unable to provide any answers or solutions. The house on Elm Street became shrouded in an eerie silence, punctuated by the rhythmic ticking of the wall clock. The once comforting sound now felt ominous, a constant reminder of the clock's dark influence. One day, Sarah stumbled upon an old diary hidden in the attic. It was a discovery that would change everything, shedding light on the clock's sinister history. It belonged to the previous owner, Emily, who had inherited the clock from her grandmother. The diary's pages were filled with Emily's accounts of the clock's strange behavior and its impact on her life. Emily had become consumed by the clock's power, her life revolving around its morbid pronouncements. She wrote of sleepless nights and an ever-growing fear that the clock was more than just an inanimate object. In her final diary entry, Emily wrote of her fear, her belief that the clock was cursed and that she was its next victim. Her words were filled with a sense of impending doom, a resignation to her fate. Sarah finally understood the clock wasn't just a witness to death, it was a harbinger influencing the fate of those around it. It was a realization that filled her with a deep sense of dread and urgency. The Thompsons buried the clock in a cemetery, breaking its hold over them and lifting the dark cloud that had hung over their home. It was a moment of liberation, a final act that freed them from the clock's sinister grip. Time, as we've explored tonight, can be a fickle and frightening thing, slipping through our fingers like sand. These haunted timepieces serve as chilling reminders that our moments are precious and perhaps preordained by forces unknown. Did these clocks stop at the hour of death due to a curse, or were they simply marking a moment already written in the fabric of time itself? The answer, my friends, remains shrouded in the shadows, elusive and mysterious. If you found your pulse quickening and your skin crawling, you're in the right place for sure. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the darkest corners of the unknown. Until next time, keep your eyes on the clock, but be careful, you never know when your time will run out.